Are you stuck? How about unhappy? Join Alena Chapman, author, mentor, and life coach for Magical Moments with Alena as she challenges you to get out of the doldrum and start living your life to the fullest. In just 60 minutes, Alena will help you take control of your life and push you to do the things you never thought you'd do. So get ready to take back your power and celebrate life with Magical Moments featuring Alena Chapman.
Welcome to Magical Moments, and this is for your ease and betterment in your life, which is so exciting. And I'm your host, Alena Chapman. Okay, guys, this magical nugget to start this show off. I'm getting down to brass tacks here, and I am saying, wake up, people, wake up. So, yeah, I have to say, today when I was driving in here, I'm like on fire. Because I have been observing things and I have been seeing how this is all playing out with this so-called new norm that doesn't have to be a new norm, all right? And I am watching the attitudes, the looks, the behavior of people. And guys, it's time to wake up. This is not the new norm. It is not, because it's missing one of the greatest components, and that is love, kindness, understanding. It is missing something so important and is detrimental to our own well-being. We are so wrapped up in, oh my gosh, everybody out there is sick but me. Or those people wear masks and I don't want to wear a mask. So we separate ourselves. Constantly we're putting ourselves in isolation. We're putting ourselves, us against the world. And that is a very, very sad place to be. Because that's not what it's about. It's not. Right now, more than anything, and I'll start breaking out in song, love, love, love. Watch out. We need to have more love. We need to somehow get ourselves out of the mindset of everybody out there's sick or everybody out there's going to contaminate me, and open ourselves up to the love. Love will protect you. Love will help you grow. Why? Because love is spirit. And spirit is love. You hear me say that over and over again. It's not just words, guys. It's alive. And love can be, all right, you don't have to go out there gushing all over the place. That's not the kind of love we need. We need a higher understanding love. A love that says, okay, you're different than me, but my God, you're just as valuable. And we all are on our own journeys. Understanding that. And just looking. You know what I teach in my workshops? One of the first things I teach is how to look into a person's eyes. How many times do we look in people's eyes? We don't. Now, you think the masks would have us look into people's eyes, but I'll tell you what, people divert their eyes so fast, it's very hard to do it. But looking in someone's eyes, you can actually see their soul. What do I mean by that? I mean, you can see the awesomeness of that person. You can see their love. You can see their journey. You can see who they are, the beauty of them. We all have that inside us. And how can you not love that? And they can be spewing some of the worst things, but boy, it's there. And do you have to go up and give them a hug? No. But my gosh, it helps you to understand that, okay, that soul is beautiful, but somehow it's got to get it. That person is working to get themselves back into that soul. And you have to love them for that journey, because we're all on that journey. We're all on the journey to live a higher self. Why do you think we all want to be in heaven so bad? We want to have that wisdom, that knowledge, and that growth. Right now, we need love. We need to bring spirit into the equation. We need to bring spirit back to life. And sometimes we have to go in baby steps. Sometimes we have to heal. But our goal and every little step we take is to that love. And today, we're going to be talking to someone who is that wonderful, cool step to having that love. And, by the way, it's also her birthday. Her name is Nia Powell. She is a #1 best-selling author, third-generation entrepreneur, CEO, founder of Spa Utopia, which delivers luxe spa and virtual wellness and experiences on demand, and the Utopia living brand. Don't you think there's a little love in that Utopia world? I certainly do. Powell's educational background includes, a degree in business administration, and she has all this incredible stuff, but I want to get to the good. Right now, as a holistic lifestyle strategist and executive coach, she offers 10 plus years of experience providing wellness and solutions for individuals, top brands, and Fortune 500 companies. Nia and her company's client list includes the 2020 Olympic Trials, NFL Super Bowl. See, I really wanted to get to this, guys. The Ritz-Carlton, Google, Martha Stewart, Sean Combs, Angela Bassett, and many others. Isn't that cool? Nia believes Utopia living is giving. She serves on the board of the Daniel Center of Math and Science, speaks at various colleges and universities, and is a global mentor to the women's boss in the Gambia, West Africa. Her mission is to spread life-giving services to the world and empower others to live their most passionate lives on purpose. I love that. Holistically. Hello, Nia. Okay, my producer here, I'm trying to get him to sing with me because I don't want to be alone on here. Come on. And we're going to sing happy birthday because it's your birthday. Are you ready?
Fine, I'll join in.
All right, I love you. All right, ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nia. Happy birthday to you. How special. Thank you. You have a beautiful voice.
Not for singing, trust me.
Oh, how wonderful. Oh, it's so wonderful to have you on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And it's a wonderful way to be celebrating my birthday with you.
Oh, it is. I bet you're kind of surprised. I bet you don't go to many interviews that they sing your birthday.
I don't. This is perfect. This is the best one ever.
How fun. Oh, my gosh. Well, let's make it a beautiful day, and let's talk about mindfulness. And I love this because this is, well, first of all, why don't you tell people a little bit more of exactly what you do? Because we all know Utopia. Well, what do you define as Utopia? What do you, what is this thing you're offering people,
No, that's a perfect question, Alena. And so basically Utopia means paradise or heaven on earth. And
I like that.
I believe we can be very intentional. We need to be intentional about our everyday lives. And by being intentional, we can recreate moments and themes that really bring us joy, that bring in love, that bring in healthy relationships, starting with the relationship with ourselves and our relationship with our Creator, starting with, a relationship with our community, but looking at those relationships from a holistic lens, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, professionally, personally, all the spokes that make up the wheel of life, and really recreating themes that bring us joy and peace and abundance. And so that's what I'm a big believer in, unleashing abundance in our mind, spirit, body, and relationships. And when we're unleashing abundance through intentional acts, then we are recreating utopia every day, even in the midst of difficult times.
That's the thing. And we can get that intention. I know it. I live it, Mm-hmm. And we can get, it's a refocusing of our mind, correct?
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
And I was just having a conversation with someone who had been through a lot in their life too. And we understand that it's a perception game. It's a perception game. But what people, they say, but Alena, it is so, how can you say that? Look at this world. Look at everything that's going on. Look at my neighborhood. Look, I have to wear this dumb mask. I say that actually. But this is what, people, but they get swallowed up by it.
Yeah.
And they think this is the realness. So what is a good, okay, so we're going to jump from this to Utopia living. Okay, well, I know you do things with mindfulness. What is mindfulness, and how can mindfulness be one of the first steps that we can start to take to change our perception?
Yeah, and I'm gonna digress because I think I answered part of your question about what is Utopia, but also what exactly do I do? So,
yes.
As a holistic lifestyle strategist, I empower people by equipping them with the tools that they need to really create peak transformation in their life.
Right.
And in all the areas we just spoke of in that holistic lens, creating harmony. And so doing that, as you said, by, changing perception. And we change our perception by being super aware of what we're thinking about. So thinking about what we're thinking about, everything starts with a thought.
Yes.
And so mindfulness is the act. Everything. I mean, whether we become the president of the United States, the president of our neighborhood association, running our own company, pursuing a goal, whether it is to lose weight, start running, drink more water, as you talked about, baby steps, whether it's the baby steps or the really big steps. But the big steps start with the baby steps, but they all start with a mindset. They all start with a made-up mind. And a made-up mind starts with the power of one thought. So learning how to really take our thoughts captive, learning how to reel them in, but you can't reel them in and you can't transform them until you're aware of them.
Right.
So
you have to wake up. Yes.
Waking up and then making a decision that I'm going to be thoughtful about what it is I'm thinking about, because our mindset is a direct reflection of what we're feeling most of the time. So 80 to 90% of disease and death is caused by stress. So stress comes in a lot of different ways, but a lot of the anxiety-producing stress comes from what we're thinking about. So today, as we talk about mindfulness, we're going to talk about the act of being fully present. Mindfulness isn't just some weird, way out there thing. It's just simply, super simply, the act of being present right here, right now, in the moment, not thinking necessarily about the to-do list, everything that's wrong. And we're going to talk about actually gratitude practice, because gratitude practice and mindfulness go hand in hand.
Yes.
And they can both powerfully transform even the brain, the gray matter in your brain. It can restore the nerve endings, the branches of nerve endings in your brain, and actually help us to become more resilient, help us to become more empathetic and compassionate. And so really it's just taking a moment to say, what is happening around me? Like, let me pay attention to how I'm feeling. How is my body feeling? Let me take a moment to pay attention to just my breath. Breathing in through my nose, exhaling out through my mouth, thinking about what are the thoughts that I'm feeling, and maybe breathing in peace and serenity, exhaling out anxiety. We can even do a little exercise later if you like. Taking in what's happening outside your window. Is the sun shining? Do you see trees all around you? Have you taken a moment to listen to the birds that are chirping, the wind that is blowing, the life that's happening around us? Yes, there's a lot of death, but listen to the sounds happening outside your window or in your home. There's an abundance of life happening. There's abundance of nature around us. So it's really learning how to transform our mind and to be fully present in a world where we're so distracted by technology and the news and all of these things.
And for people out there, to realize, and you're saying, what do you mean I'm distracted? You are. When you start to practice mindfulness, it's funny, on almost every day, I always take a minute. I'm always noticing how my body feels. And when you do that, you're honoring your body. Why do we want to honor our body? My gosh, because it is created. It is it's what gives us the power to do things on this wonderful planet. And if it's not working right, you can't do your soul's mission. You have to have that body in order. So that's one thing, but to change that perception. Okay, so if I'm driving down the road and I'm overloaded. I'm overloaded with stuff, maybe my mom's, the dog has to go to the vet. My child needs this. This needs to happen. My business, I get calls all the time. I'm busy, busy, busy. So then all of a sudden, I just say, wait a minute. I'm feeling a little tight. I'm feeling a little ucky. All right, I'm going to breathe. And you know what I do, everyone, is I actually put on music that I love, my calm meditation music, as I'm driving. And I drive myself over to a nature preserve that I can drive into, like here in my area, it's called Little River Wetlands. You all have something in your area. And I open my windows or I get out of the car and I absorb. I listen to the cranes. I listen to the ducks. I see the bee that loves my perfume. I see I see living life. And it wakes you up. Yeah. It says, oh my God, there is, this is more the reality of this planet. This is more the reality of my life. Yeah, there's stuff and people want. But this is where I am. And then I can go back into that world, everyone. This world of calls and my mother's dog and everything else. I can go back into that world with a different perception. With a perception of, love, understanding.
Yeah, compassion.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I just wanted to make that really crystal clear for people, because that's a very big concept you're talking about.
It is. It makes you more in tune with everything that's happening within and around you. But it also makes you in tune with understanding that we can choose what we want to focus on. It's our choice, right? And there's always going to be so much happening. Right now, we are in unprecedented times, and I don't want to in any way diminish that or downplay that. This is a very difficult time.
Yes, it is.
All of us. And there's a lot of loss, and there's a lot of grief, and there's a lot of sorrow. So we need these tools more than ever before. So we know how to refuel and restore and replenish, like you said, so we can go back out and do our soul's work. I love that. And so, so we can be a vehicle and a conduit of love and of peace and of joy. If not us, then who? Because the world needs it desperately. The world needs more light. The world needs more love. The world needs more of a voice of reason. There's so much chaos going on. So we are the ones. It's our charge to change it. Whatever future
there you go
means that we have to. We have to be willing to work for the things that we believe in. And if we believe in love, if we believe in peace, if we believe in humanity, if we believe, that all lives matter, if we believe that in unity, if we believe in these things, then we have to make sure that we are nurturing our mind, spirit, body, and we have to have practices like prayer and meditation and mindfulness and know how to fill our cup, so we can go out into the world and help to fill others.
We always put our faith in everybody else but ourselves. We always put it in the president. We always put it in the heroes. We always, everybody who's a hero. But we're not saying we are. We're saying they are. We always put it in somebody outside of ourselves. But this is what we're saying. Both of us are saying right here, right now, that you are the hero. You guys are the hero. Every single listener out there, you are the hero. And I just want them to just hear that, because when you're the hero, you got to keep yourself in a place where you can be the hero. That's one thing that's so wonderful in this beautiful country we live in, is that we are the voice of our world. Each one of us. So isn't it time to stop complaining and stop saying it's their fault? When are they going to make a change? And when are they? You can make a change right in your backyard. And the one powerful thing is, it's all up to you and what you do and your mind and your thought process, like we're talking about. But my gosh, the one thing you will find from this is that there is an incredible ripple. Your action, it's just like being in the coffee line and someone pays in front of you, and then the person then pays for the person behind them, and the person pays behind them. It's like causes, and this good feeling, and that's what you cause in every action you do.
Absolutely.
So,
it's true.
So let's talk some of this mindfulness. How can we become a little more mindful?
Great question. We can become a little bit more mindful, but by just taking an intentional moment throughout the day. It doesn't always have to be 30 minutes of, everything is shut down and shut off, and you're going to practice.
Can't always do that.
With a candle and be quiet and centered. But it's in the everyday moments. It's starting your morning with, I would say, baby steps, maybe 3 minutes if you feel like you're pressed for time, of just taking in cleansing breath. I start my morning first and foremost very mindfully by just saying, thank you, God. Just before I turn on, I make sure I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. So I'm creating a space of mindfulness by removing some distractions for the time that I desire to have rest time from 10 p.m. until about 7 a.m. It's Do Not Disturb. When I wake up, I gratitude journal. So just taking a few moments in the morning to simply breathe. You might take 3 minutes to just say, I'm going to take 3 minutes when I first wake up. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to check text messages. I'm not going to do anything else until I just take 3 minutes. You might put on some tranquility music in the background.
Have a cup of tea.
Have a cup of tea and make it a morning practice.
Yeah.
You can make it as involved as you want. For me, it's gratitude journaling. For me, it's reading scripture. For me, it's playing. I have a playlist that I put my YouTube on every single morning, and that's how I start my day. I recommend doing these things to engage all your senses. I spray my aromatherapy, and it sounds like a lot, but you know what? It doesn't take long to create habits. And me tapping my YouTube and my music and reading a little scripture and writing in my gratitude journal, that's usually about a minimum of about a 10-minute morning routine. But if I have more time, because what happens is in being mindful and just letting my body ease into the morning, into just taking in a few breaths, to just saying, thank you for waking me up this morning, and just laying there for just a few more minutes before I'm turning on the news and doing all these things that are not mindful. It's a great way to start the day off in a space of mindfulness. But if I can spend more time, what happens is my gratitude journaling, instead of writing down just 3 things, and I'll petition you to take 3 minutes and think of 3 things that you're grateful for, and take in some cleansing breath. And just pay attention to how you're feeling. Just start there. You can do that literally between 1 to 3 minutes. You deserve it. If you don't take time, it will take us. So that's a great way to start. But a lot of times what happens is once you start thinking about things that you're actually grateful for, and you're mindful of the abundances of your day, you're mindful that you had a surprise text from a person that you hadn't heard from in a while, that you actually had a chance to sit on your back patio or your front porch for a few minutes, and you saw a neighbor go by and you had a warm, friendly 2-minute exchange with your neighbor. socially distant. See, it's the little things. Or you ended up accomplishing something that you have been working on for a while. Celebrating those small wins, it reroutes your brain. It reroutes your thought process. You'll start thinking of not 3 things. Before you know it, 3 things has turned into 6 things, and 6 things has turned into 9 things.
Yeah.
And if you give your mind and your space the capacity, the time, you will notice that you have a whole page. Sometimes I have 2 pages of things that have happened in a day. But if I didn't take the time to be mindful, to be aware, it would have come and gone. Just talking to my parents, just a brief conversation, that's something I'm grateful for. Everybody's parents are not still here. You see what I mean? It's all the little things that make the richness of life that money cannot buy.
It's
also,
true.
Other ways to be mindful is just at a meal.
Yes.
Maybe you want to anchor it at times when you're eating. Taking a moment to be mindful, just to smell your food, to look at your food, to pay attention to the fact that you're blessed to be putting nourishment in your body. And then it helps us to even become more mindful about what we're choosing to put into our body. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. We don't understand how powerful this gratefulness is. And when you're talking about the meal and everything, I always talk about, the morning connection is extremely important because let's face it, guys, if you know how you feel when you get up and all of a sudden you have to hurry, like you're late for school for your son and you're hurrying and you don't even get to think and you're out that door and before you know it, you drop off the kid and you're like, oh my God, now what? Now what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Yeah. You're living unintentionally. And then before you know it, you listen to the news and there's a crisis and your mind goes there and you're angry as you go to that stoplight. Yeah. Do you see how your whole day sets up in the wrong way?
Yeah. Yeah,
and
you're absolutely right.
So that morning connection or that routine, as Nia says, is something that helps you to start your intention in the right way for your day. And I have my own morning routine and my morning connection. And I always say it needs 3 things: to connect to the inside of you, to connect to something higher, and to set your intention for the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that.
And we are at Magical Moments, everyone. And we're going to take a break. But when we get back, we're going to start talking about some really definite tools like that morning connection so that you can start waking up. And then guess what? You can spread that love inside you. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Magical Moments with Alena Chapman, helping you find your inner purpose. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.
Welcome back to Magical Moments. And we are having a fantastic conversation about how to bring some utopia into your world. And yes, I do mean utopia. So right now I'm talking to Nia Powell, and she has done, she talks about utopia. She has worked with some of the most incredible people in the world who want to bring that utopia into their world. And why do they want to? Because they understand the power of changed perception and intentional living and living in a place where you're happy can help you impact the world in the most positive, glorious ways and create your world. Okay? That's really what we're talking about. So it's manifestation, it's spreading love, it's really creating a world that is like heaven on earth. So, Nia, let's talk a little bit. We were talking about the morning connection or the morning habits. And then during the day, just as well as I, we can start off great and we're doing great until about 10, 11, 12 o'clock. And then wham, that bad news or that meeting I forgot about and it's happening. And I'm supposed to be presenting in this meeting. Those little surprises we get in our life, So how do we, or we're going in for an interview, how do we pull ourselves together? How do we not let our whole being turn into this chaotic surge of fight or flight?
Absolutely. So as you said, Alena, we have all of these unpredictable moments that pop up. And that's kind of the definition of stress, things happening that we are not able to control, and that creates stress. And so, in my book, 30 Days to Utopia Living, I talk a lot about these utopian lifestyle strategies and offer coaching exercises around how to manage these particular things. So for those pop-up moments, one of the things that I recommend is that you want to have the tools to anchor you, right? You want to have a tool, your self-care toolkit. And in your self-care toolkit, you want to have these instant tools that you can shift. So your breathing techniques, when you had that meeting that you didn't know, take some mindful breaths.
Yes.
And go ahead and breathe in. You know what? Affirming thoughts. Breathe in, just simply breathe in peace. Exhale anxiety. Do that for a couple of seconds. Say, I got this, and what do I need to do? I am a big believer in lists. When you talked about our morning intention.
Yes.
So in addition to your morning gratitude, you create your daily intention by writing down 3 to 5 things that you want to get done that day. You're going to apply those same tools throughout your day. If something pops up and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be here in 15 minutes, I want you to take a moment to breathe, because you can't get it done if you're not breathing.
Exactly. You cannot.
Take a moment to breathe, take a moment to pause, and to recenter and say, okay, I've got this. I've handled more. I can handle this. And what are the next 3 things that I need to do? How do I prioritize, and what do I need to reshift? So we're reframing. So we're going to go out of that, oh my gosh, everything's crazy. I'm anxious. I can't do this. You're going to move into, I've got this. You can do this. I can do this. Take a deep breath. And what I'm going to do is pull up an email. I'm going to Google something. I'm going to pull some notes together. So what are the next action steps that you need to take? And you're going to mindfully move forward. And so
I love that. That's very cool.
Baby steps.
Yeah, and it is.
Forward. Yeah.
And I always say strategic baby steps, and that's because it moves, you're moving in a direction. I love, yes, in the morning, and that intention is so cool. And I do write down those things, what I want to accomplish. Just so that to get it out to the listeners and to you, I always add, though, that's kind of an important, I love this one because this helps me to stay in my trueness. I always write, okay, I've got all these things to do, plus I want to add these 3, or I want to accomplish this somewhere in the day. But right here, how do I want to feel today? Do I want to be running like a chicken with my head cut off? Do I want to feel powerful and together? Do I want to feel calm and peaceful? How do I want to handle this day? And I actually write it down. Yeah, and so when that meeting comes up and I have my tools in my pocket, guys, you got to have your tools in your pocket. That unexpected thing comes up, and it does. It always does. So
absolutely,
you think to yourself, but what is it? But this is not who I want to be right now.
Yeah.
I want to handle this. And it does. It's just another little caveat that you can put into your morning that helps you to deal with the day that I have found very beneficial.
And to speak to that even more specifically,
yes.
A few of the utopian lifestyle strategies that I have in my book is, one, cultivate your self-awareness around your mind, your mood boosters,
always,
and your trainers.
Always.
So you need to know what elevates your spirit. We talked about music. We talked about prayer. We talked about gratitude journaling. But you also need to know what it drains you. So throughout my day, I have different music, playlists, podcasts, because I know that I need to be feeding my mind and creating an atmosphere that's energizing, that's uplifting, and sometimes it's encouraging. So now that we're doing a lot of social distancing, we're working from home, sometimes being in an amazing conversation that's inspiring through a podcast will be that thing that kind of makes you feel like you're in the presence of good company.
Yes.
So you can do a couple of different things. There are the negative Nellies in our life. So
really?
You're already heavy and draining. You don't have time for that call from the negative Nelly, whether it's family or friend, when you're trying to do a heavy lift.
No.
That has to wait till later. Don't feel guilty. Just say, hey, can I get back to you shortly? And don't even put a time frame on it. When you know you have a lot on your plate, just say shortly, got a lot going on, and just shift that over. Also, you want to set yourself up for success with mindful practices like bookending. We talked about how we start our day, but also how you end your evening. End and start your evening and start your day with, positivity. Going to bed, in a good headspace. Not
so important.
Going to bed on, the news, because that's going to be how you sleep, and that's going to affect how you wake up. And then you want to create more margin in your day. Go ahead. A lot of times people are not doing this. If you know that you're overloaded with meetings and you're overloaded with people putting things on your calendar, then go ahead and schedule in some breaks. And I believe in keeping your mornings as much as possible meeting free, so you can play catch up from those late emails, so you can really go into your day intentionally during the weekday, and you're directing your day, and your day is not managing you, tossing you all over the place, and you haven't even had a chance to catch your breath.
Yeah.
So try making those meetings late morning or starting at maybe early,
or what works for you. You have, everybody is their own person. I know that for me, I don't mind getting up a little bit earlier if I know that I'm going to be my very best at 10 o'clock for that meeting or 9 o'clock for that meeting. Or because I know at 3 o'clock, oh, honey, you don't want me there. That is my time where I am meant to do a meditation. That is definitely my lull time. And that's the time when my body just craves that meditation and craves that. So don't do that. You have to look at your life and you have to see what works for you. And you have to guide your life that way. It's like, we're all like this. I used to say in my younger days, anybody who got to know me, I'd say, okay, I'm telling you right now, I'm a hothouse flower, meaning I live in the, in the nursery, the hothouse. I like the conditions around me to be right, and then I flourish.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to create those conditions. And you brought up something really important that I want to talk about because I love it. You did the perfect example, Nia. Boundary setting, guys. Did you see how she did that with that phone call? Now, how many of us we're busy and we are in this, we're really busy. We're doing a project. We're finally in that creative flow. We're in the zone. We're creating. And then ring, or text, or something goes off on those phones that never stop dinging. And it takes you out of that creative flow. And what do? We answer it. Why are we answering it, folks? Because it's not selfish. It's not selfish, guys. You're in that creative flow. You're busy. You're creating a life. These people, you're not alienating them, saying or putting, I will call you back soon. And you can press that on your little phone. It even has a button for you. And it's okay. It's okay. Because you have to create that environment around you that's going to make that creative flow even more. That is what our soul is about. It's not about every phone call that comes in we have to answer. I love that. That was very big, Nia. Because
we struggle with that. And, if we don't, all of these distractions will hijack our life and they'll hijack our purpose and, our ability to create, meaningful contributions in the world. I think about the season last year when I wrote my book. I was able to write it in 2 months, but that sounds unheard of. But it was a season of me sharing with friends and family that I'm going to be very heads down, a lot of do not disturb time on my phone where, and I literally put it face down. And we can't do that every day, but we can't do that for 2 months, but we can do that for little pockets every day where we need to get through a deadline. We can turn it on, the ringer off for an hour or two, and you can check. It doesn't mean you're not looking in case an emergency comes with friends or family.
Exactly.
But if it's not an emergency, then it can wait. Just like they say texting and driving, it can wait. There are things that can wait. And so I think recognizing that. And, I also just want to say our relationships are so important. And sometimes we feel like we have to be at everyone's beck and call. But what happens if we don't put proper boundaries, we're not having a healthy relationship with ourselves. And
Exactly.
so we also have to be compassionate with ourselves. We also have to show ourselves self-love and self-care, and that is what self-care looks like. But we can also be super intentional. Instead of all of these distracted moments of trying to answer every call in the middle of 1,000 things and you're not fully present, being fully present is a part of being mindfulness in our relationship. So it's carving out quality time with the kids, with the family, with the parents, with girlfriends, and saying, you know what, this week is a little cray-cray, but you know what? Why don't we schedule some time? For me, Sunday is the day that I do not schedule business, and with very, very few exceptions. So Sunday is a time where I can do brunch. Sunday is a time where I can make that call to the parents or the grandmoms, or it might be with the kids when you're picking them up from school or
Big
dropping
one.
them off.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, okay, setting the intention. How do we want this day to look, kids? What are you going to do that's positive today? And then when they're picking them up from school or at the end of the day, what was the peak of your day? What was the pit of your day? It has to be open-ended questions, so it's not just yes, no, fine.
I always find it always comes in those little moments, and with kids, I know I always made sure, I still do, I always make sure that I am there to pick up the kids or drop them off. Because that's the time when everything, if you want quality time, folks, it's not big giant vacations. It's not anything.
Yeah.
It's picking them up from school and dropping them off, or leaving little notes in their bags. And it's little things that help them to, I do the questions like that, but then I get quiet. And it's in the quiet you learn what's really going on with the teacher, or what's really going on with friends, or it's because they're raw, they're ready, they want to talk. Very, very important. And it is, you've got to, I always ask people to set up those core beliefs when you're dealing with other people, but it's also, what do you want in your life? And those priority people, like your kids, like your spouse, like that very best friend who has always been there for you every minute. Those are people that, when you're going through your transition, you're not going to forsake them. In fact, by you taking the time to be mindful of yourself, to grow the spirit in you is what you're doing. You're growing, you're opening up the path to hear the spirit. That's what you're doing. And when you do that, you bring them more of the best part of you. And they love it. They love it. They don't want the harried person who's, doesn't know what she's doing or he's doing and is totally chaotic, and the mind's chaotic, and they're short-tempered, and they're pushing whatever agenda that they had what they heard on the news or whatever, all riled up. They want that person who values them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
You're
when
so
you
right.
start to open up to that, and that they can value you, they want the realness of life, not all the outside crap you can bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
It is. It's time for us to take a little bit more control of ourselves, responsibility of ourselves.
Yeah. And another way, as we talk about just simple ways to be mindful, this past Saturday we did a small event, Utopia in the park, and this is something that you can do.
Oh my God, I got peace in the park. That's very simple. I love it. That's really cool. Tell me about your Utopia in the park. That's very funny.
Yeah, Utopia in the park. We did our first one this past Saturday, and we were intentional about having a very small, socially distant, safe group. And it was just 7 people, and some joined via Zoom. But I say this because everything that I teach, I want people to be able to do it right from the comfort of their home, even if it's just them. But you can do this right in your backyard, right on your front porch, just sitting outside and taking a few moments. You can do this with your family, you can do this with your kids, you can do this with your friends, or you can do it by yourself. Just sitting outside and breathing in the fresh, beautiful air, taking in with your eyes closed the sounds of the nature symphony, the birds, the bugs, the humming, the cars, just taking in the breeze brushing across your face and just how beautiful that feels. You can lay out on a towel or a yoga mat and just lay down and let your body just totally be at peace
Exactly.
and at ease. And it was so transformative to do that and to bring in conversation around what are the things that we want to release in terms of everything that's not serving us. And everybody wrote down what those things are, and then they wrote down on a separate little note the things they want to receive. Do you want to release anxiety? Do you want to release perfectionism? Do you want to release the tension that you're holding or the fear? Do you want to receive more love, more joy, more compassion? And just simply as you breathe in what you want to receive. Breathe in love. Exhale any fear when you blow it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Breathe in peace. Exhale out any stress or tension. And just little moments like that, those are things that you can do to elevate your mindfulness. But you can also do those in the car while you're driving.
Everywhere.
Close your eyes, but you can roll down your window. You can smell the fresh air. You can pay attention to the sun that's setting on your way home. You can still take a moment to turn down the radio or turn on meditation music. You can transform these everyday moments by being mindful. You can turn off the social media and do a digital detox. You can choose a day a week to do that. And you can be more fully present over the dinner table and making sure that there's eye contact and gadgets are put away. So mindfulness can be an everyday moment.
Yeah, it can. And sometimes folks, something happened, was it last week? It was a day for me, and I'm going to share this because it shows you, hopefully you'll learn something from it. Anyway, I had enough. Alena had enough. It was a day when I just decided everything was on overload. I had my intention, but you know what? I was tired. I felt it in my marrow of my bones, and I needed time. Now, this is why I'm telling you, I want to give everyone permission to take time when you need it. I know we say, but we can't. Yes, you must. And I said, I just wrote to someone I know, I said, I'm running away today. And I ran. Now, this is what's so cool. Sometimes I think there's something inside you that says you've got to run, and there's a reason. There's something there. There's a seed percolating. So I went out. I drove to a neighboring town to my sacred space, which is an old monastery with a beautiful stone fence. And every time I get there, it just, oh God, it just opens up every part of me, and I just breathe. So up I go, and I have a willow tree there. And I love this willow tree. I lay under it and under its branches, and I just feel it fold around me, and I just feel present, not only present, but it's even more than that. I feel the beautiful earth. I feel the spirit of living. I feel the spirit everywhere around me. And I just sit there in presence and allow myself to gain back energy. But guess what? As you allow yourself to open to all that spirit around you, and you allow everything else to go away, your shoulders drop, your hips relax, but you're not in a meditation. And here's what really happens. And then the idea that has been percolating inside of you has a chance to open up into your mind. And then all of a sudden that can be an idea for something in your business, something with your kids, something in your life. And it's big. And it's one of those strategic baby steps that just popped into your head. And so, but if I had kept on with my busy day, feeling really tired, if I had not listened to my body, if I had not listened to my whole being, and I had stayed the good soldier doing what I'm supposed to do, I would have never received the idea. I would never feel so good.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm giving you permission. You each have to know yourselves, and you know your schedule. And if you need time, you owe it to yourself to take that time. It is so important, because if you don't, you and everyone around you suffers for it. Quite simply. Yeah. It's very important that Utopia has to begin with us recognizing what we need to be the best we can be. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Oh, I do. Utopia begins with us. It does. And, I love to say, elevate your thoughts and you'll elevate your life. And, there's a scripture I love, and it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so we have to know how to renew our mind. And if you can renew our mind, we can renew our lives. We can renew our communities. We can renew our families. We can renew what's happening even on a cellular level within our
yes.
in our brain.
Yes. We only knew. We've talked on this show about water and the crystallization of water. Our bodies are 70% water. Just think, guys, really think about this. Every time you get angry, look at the pictures on YouTube. Go to Alena Chapman. Look at the pictures of that show, and you'll see what you're actually doing to the water in your bodies.
Yeah.
And your cells are totally affected by the environment they're in. Actually, Bruce Lipton did an experiment in 1969 on that. And he did 2 experiments, and each one showed how cells are affected by their environment, not by genetic, but by environment.
Yeah.
So if you are running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and you are angry, and you are feeding it all this negative stuff, what are you creating in your body?
You're absolutely right. The Harvard Business Review has a study on emotional intelligence and mindfulness, and it really talks about the effects of stress and thoughts and how mindfulness can really transform, the ACC, the anterior cingulate cortex, and that's structured right below inside our forehead area. And so when we are in a space of extreme stress and we're not practicing mindfulness, what happens is it impacts and damages our impulsivity and unchecked aggressions. And so when we see people just acting out in rage and just kind of like, what is wrong with people? Like they're operating in a way that is very reactionary and not a way that's responsive. And so things like mindfulness help us to reroute, the processing of the brain. It helps to create more gray matter.
Synapses, more brain matter, and the synapses connect. You're activating a new part of the brain. It's simple as that. You're activating the part that should have always been activated, but you shut it down.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right. Like the words that we speak also transform that water and the cells in the water.
Yes.
You see the clustering.
Not even the word. Oh, Nia, you got to look. He didn't even say a word. This is what amazed me about that. All he did was he wrote down thank you and put the note on the water, on the jar of water. That's all he did. And it crystallized the water in a certain way. That is so powerful.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Okay, so how can we get hold of you if we want to?
Sure. So I would say one of the best ways is you can follow me on Instagram, which is Utopia Living.
Yes.
With Nia. So if you just put Utopia Living with Nia, I'm going to come up. Also, you can follow me at Nia, F as in Frank, Powell.com, and that's Naya. F as in Frank, Powell.com.
Wonderful.
And those are the 2, I would say, simplest and easiest ways to keep up with me and know what I'm doing. And I'm very active on Instagram.
I love it. So we have given everyone out there, we've given you guys such incredible information today, and even steps on how to do a beginning strategic baby step to get yourself into a place of intention, love, change of perception, and you know what? I think I'm going to put a challenge out there. I challenge you to take one of those tools or even all of them. Listen to this program again. Share it with friends. Get yourself into a position where you are doing something this week that helps you to grow in a positive way that you feel good. I challenge you. And by the way, if you are interested, we have the wonderful, put this down in your calendars, October 15th. October 15th in Grable, Indiana, at the wonderful Catapatry, we are having a Tarot discussion with meditation. What a wonderful way to start to grow right there. We're going to be outside. We'll do the social distancing. You'll learn valuable information, share with friends, and do a powerful meditation that gets you to solidify it in your mind and body and soul. Also, check out Soul Manifesto, please, because we are having that 7-day reset. What better way to find that inner calm every day in your life? As always, everything we do is to help to bring that love and spirit into your life, because spirit is love and love is spirit. We'll see you next week. Namaste.
This has been Magical Moments with Alena, featuring Alena Chapman. If you missed an episode, download it now on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Deezer, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. Learn more online at soulmanifesto.com.